Evening when you don't have a lot to do, sit down, get you a cup of coffee or an iced tea or a beer, and sit down and read that paper cover to cover. It's not an actual paper that was printed, but it's a bunch of different articles that were printed, and all of them pertain to the gunfight near the OK Corral. You'll learn more about the gunfight by reading that paper than you'll ever learn from somebody like me giving you a tour. Now everybody real quick, look over that fence right there. That is an empty lot. But I'm glad you looked. That means you're gullible. Everybody tow me your wallet. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, one day that might actually work.
I'm hoping that's my retirement plan. But
or at least a new joke book.
Anyway, the library's closed right now. So, anybody staying at San Jose House? Nope. San Jose House is this building right here. The San Jose House is one of the first permanent structures built here in Tombstone. Has 4 rooms in it. The second room and the fourth room are the most haunted. The fourth room, they had some folks staying there a while back. They have what they call, why am I hearing that? They have what they call in there a young boy who causes mischief. I'm not supposed to allow that, but if you guys need to, I will let you get off. Okay?
My mom lives right down the street.
It's okay, kiddo. I know you're tired. Good night. Good night.
What's that? Isn't that place closed? Why is the window? No, the curtains are open.
So the fourth room right here, they had some folks that stayed in there. And they have what they call a young boy that causes mischief. They stayed in there one night. It was, when they checked in the room, the outside temperature was 65 degrees.
Oh my God.
The indoor temperature was 47 degrees. That's an adobe building. It does not happen like that, okay? So anyway, they turned on the wall heater. They were in there for about an hour. The room temperature was still 47 degrees. They contacted the maintenance man. The maintenance man brought 3 more little electric heaters, and they had all 4 heaters running all night long. And when they woke up the next morning, the indoor temperature was still 47 degrees.
Whoa.
They went to another place to stay. But anyway, there's something in there that's going weird. Now, over here, this is the second room right there. They had a fella staying in there one night. He had a bunch of friends staying over here at the Budget Inn. He invited them over. They sat around on the porch. They drank beer. They took pictures. They talked. They had a good time. When they sent the film in to be developed, well, we need kids that don't know what film is, ask your parents. Okay. Anyway, they sent the film in to be developed. When they got the pictures back, every photo that had a woman's face in it, the woman's face was fuzzed out. There's something in there that does not like women.
Really?
So next time you come to Tombstone, that's the place right here. Second or fourth room, right? You gonna stay there? No?
No, I don't like it.
Alright, everybody still having fun?
Yeah.
Moving on, we're going to pull forward a little bit. We're going to get down to this intersection down here. And I would like to remind y'all to pay attention and keep your eyes out for the paranormal deer.
What?
Well, they're not paranormal. They're just, they're a
Hey,
pair of
that's
normal
where we
deer, but they hang
live.
out right down there.
This is where we're staying.
Pretty regular.
Yep, that's where we're staying.
And then when you turn the corner, we're going to tell y'all a little love story. You want to hear a love story?
Yes.
Okay. Excuse me, I need to drink some water. It's been a long day. I ate a lot of dirt today. Yeah.
You're welcome. Deer right here on your right.
Deer, deer, deer. Oh, right there.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, look.
A whole bunch of them.
Oh my God.
You want to get some?
A whole passel of deer.
That's lucky.
We got lots of critters hanging around here. Alright, so we got this young lady. She's a Mexican senorita girl. And her name is Petra Edmonds. She carries on a long courtship with a fellow by the name of George Davies. Now, George asked her to marry him several times, but they both knew that her father would never allow him to have her hand in marriage until he could take care of her in the manner she was accustomed to being taken care of. So, George left Tombstone and he went to find his fortune. went to a place called Prescott. He hung out there for about 6 months working, and he made some money, not a lot of money, but he made enough money to go to another place called Gila Bend. While he was in Gila Bend, within 2 years of being in Tombstone, he found his fortune. He got rich. He come back to Tombstone. He got him a fancy room in one of the hotels downtown. He got him a real fancy suit, big old handful of flowers. Come down here to reclaim his lost love. And he came from this direction over here, and he walked up to the intersection here, and she lived in that house right over there. White house with the white house right there. As he walked up to the intersection right here, flowers in hand, she walks out of that house, heading the direction we just came from, arm in arm with her new beau.
Oops.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Anyway, he walks up to the roadway right here, starts screaming and hollering and cussing. She sees him. She starts screaming and hollering back. The new beau, he did what any new beau would do when the old beau shows up with a gun. He ran that away. We didn't see him again. He screams and hollers. She screams and hollers. All of a sudden, he takes the gun and points it at her, cocks it, and fires 3 shots at her.
What?
She falls to the street right on this side of the road. He thought he had killed her. In his anguish, he took the gun. He cocked it one more time. He placed it to his own forehead. He fires off a shot, kills himself dead on this side of the street.
Oh yeah, I've been reading about that. Yeah.
She was not dead. She was shot. She was shot, but she wasn't dead. Doc Goodfellow, he came down and took care of her too. And she went on to marry another fella, had a whole bunch of kids, a whole castle of grandkids, and lived to a ripe old age. George was not that lucky. Y'all ready for the ghost story?
Yes.
In this 2 blocks area right here, early morning hours, right before the sun comes up. This happens like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. There is a young man that wanders up and down this 2 block area. He likes to bum cigarettes off of people.
What?
Yeah, and he likes to tell stories, and he tells that story that I just told y'all. Only when he gets to the part where he says, and then I took the gun and placed it to my own head, he just disappears. Now, like I said, this happens early morning hours. So if any of y'all are hanging around here early morning and you see this ghost, bring cigarettes. He likes cigarettes.
What about candy?
Go right. All right, moving on. We're going to go to the #1 hot spot. Anybody got any idea what that is?
Yeah, it's like
Boot Hill Cemetery.
Boot Hill Cemetery. Yes, that's it. He was right. Is that what you were talking about? Okay. All right. Now, the Boot Hill Cemetery was not originally called the Boot Hill Cemetery. It was originally called, get this, the Tombstone Cemetery.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, they weren't very creative about how they named things back then. It wasn't until the 1930s that they decided to turn the town into a tourist attraction that they decided to steal the name from Dodge City, Kansas. Okay, well, they borrowed the name from Dodge City, Kansas, and it's been Boot Hill ever since. Anybody go to Boot Hill today?
Yes. Yesterday.
All right. If you went to Boot Hill Cemetery today, you know that that cemetery only represents 250 graves. The original cemetery, when he closed down in 1884, had over 4,000 graves.
Whoa.
That's why they had to close it down. That's why they opened a new cemetery in 1884 out here at the end of Allen Street. Now we're going to turn the corner here and we're going to take this big sweeping curve. And when we take that curve, we're going to come up to the very first roadway right there. And as we drive over that roadway, we're probably going to be driving over some of the abandoned graveyard.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, that's how big it was. The Circle K right up here on this side of the road, that Circle K, when they broke ground back in the day, they dug up bone fragments and coffins and all kinds of stuff in that area. So the graveyard is much, much larger than folks believe it is, okay? So we're right now driving over probably part of the abandoned graveyard.
Whoa.
Now, a lot of folks associate the graveyard with bad people, criminals and murderers and rapists.
What?
But the very first 2 occupants of the graveyard were actually young children. The very first person buried in the graveyard was a small child, a young girl, and her name was Eva Waters. And she died of scarlet fever.
Oh.
The second occupant of the graveyard was a young boy. He was walking around on a pair of stilts. Everybody knows what stilts are, right?
Yep.
Walking around on a pair of stilts, he fell off of the stilts and landed on a rock. He broke his leg, and he died 2 days later from a blood poisoning from the broken bone. That's the second occupant. There's a lot of good folks buried in the graveyard here, folks. All right, we're gonna let you folks on this side of the trolley look over the fence. I'm gonna tell you all a quick story. Then we're gonna turn around and let you guys on the other side of the trolley look over the fence. And
Look, there's
the
orange.
story I want to talk about is a photo that I have right here. This guy stayed here with some of the Ike Clanton descendants, and he stayed here a couple of weeks. This was about 14 years ago. He stayed with the family for a couple of weeks, and then when he was ready to go home, they asked him, "Is there anything you want to do before you leave Tombstone?" And he goes, "Yes, I want to go to Boot Hill Cemetery, dress up like a cowboy with a gun and a hat, and get some pictures." So they came up here and they took some pictures of him. Early morning hours, nobody was here except for him and a couple of the guys taking pictures. And when they got the pictures back, one photo stood out. This is the photo. Right here, off of his shoulder, you see a blow-up shot right here of what is off of his shoulder. There looks like somebody kneeling in the brush.
Oh, geez.
Yep.
So they decided to do a little investigating. They came back up here to the very spot where the camera was, where the picture was taken. And they realized that is not brush. That was a cactus garden. There's no way somebody could have been kneeling in that spot. Because it was a cactus garden. So they didn't want to investigate it. They found out that the guys by the name of Francis was buried in that very spot. He's one of the cowboys. He met several people with a knife and actually killed 3 people. This is nice. In this photo, folks that have studied this on the website, they have studied this photo thoroughly. They believe that that guy is